Guys, General Greene, God bless you. Hope you're having a great day. We're going to talk about the potential Donald Trump impeachment, but I want to take you on a brief walk here. I want to show you how packed Waikiki, Honolulu is. This is our iconic beach, and there is more people here than I've seen in years. And as I keep saying, there's been absolutely no slowdown at all in the economy. People are spending like crazy. These average hotels, by the way, islandproject.com owns 2 of these beachfront condos, more to come. The surfer sets down one of his boards here with no bank debt. And again, this is the economy. So I want you guys to take a look at this for a minute. You can see behind me, there are literal, maybe even hundreds of surfers behind me. And this entire beach is full. Now, albeit it is a popular time to travel through the first of the year, so we will typically get a lot of people, but the amount of people right now is extraordinary. So we'll talk about Donald Trump's impeachment here in a minute. I'll give you a better view. It's actually so busy on the beach, I'm going to approach from a different angle just to kind of show you behind me. But again, look at this. Does this look like an economic collapse to you? No, this looks like hyperinflation. And it goes all the way around. I've almost never seen it this busy ever. Okay, so all this talk that there's going to be an economic slowdown, yes, there's a wealth transfer. Yes, there's massive hyperinflation. But again, people are spending. The consumer in some areas might be hurting, but not here. At least what I'm seeing with my own eyes. I mean, this is incredible. So let's talk about Donald Trump's impeachment. Donald Trump said today, after, of course, his attack on Venezuela and taking over of the government, as well as overt threats to other parts of Latin America, principally Colombia and also Cuba, that he will lose the midterm elections. If he loses the midterm elections, the Republicans do, he will be impeached. This, in my opinion, is a genius move by Donald Trump because it creates a healthy sense of needed fear that the Republican Party needs to be super activated in the coming months to prevent the erasure of Donald Trump's work as president and or his direct impeachment, something I predicted would be a big topic of 2026. Also, although Marco Rubio has been downplaying it, Donald Trump also says today he's considering using direct military force to acquire Greenland. Now, here's the question you should ask yourself as we look at Diamond Nuts Head here at islandproject.com. It's obvious that we are at world war. Number 2, it's obvious Donald Trump is taking control of the Western Hemisphere, including Latin America, Greenland, Canada, and probably Mexico. And in addition to that, China is taking the Eastern Hemisphere, namely, I believe soon, Taiwan. Now, as part of the bargaining chip, we are also looking at Ukraine. Now, what I believe will be another strike and direct attack on Iran. This will play into Israel's aims, America's chief ally, and of course, the national security protocol of Donald Trump's presidency here during his second term. Another thing I want to state today is I'm praying daily, but I think there's a strong possibility Donald Trump does not make it through his full term. Either he's impeached, and I've said this recently, or something else, God forbid, happens to him. This is a very dangerous time in American history during this reset. It is a very dangerous time of debt and hyperinflation. And now I'm going to explain a little bit more, as I did yesterday from my lifted 4x4 Jeep, exactly how the elites and the financial system will be reset into stable coins and a new crypto blockchain era I've long predicted here at bitcoinrich.com and islandproject.com for now multiple decades. All right, guys, I just want you to understand how the worldwide elites are going to reset the system. It's very easy and very obvious. Just like we used to be backed by and convertible with our US dollars and debt to gold, then went off it, okay, then transitioned into fiat. and then transition to a pseudo petrodollar. We're backed by oil. What's going to happen next in the United States is what I've already predicted for multiple decades, that they're going to transition the backing of the new US upgraded dollar to a stable coin. That'll be the new equivalent of, just like we have gold reserves at Fort Knox, which then again back the petrodollar itself, essentially oil. Now it'll be the US dollar that's been upgraded and digitized, backed by the US stablecoin. Now, the US government will also own a strategic sovereign reserve of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, a diversified portfolio. But essentially the new world standard will be a stable coin standard. And so whoever wins the stablecoin war, and then of course builds the biggest reserves of the diversified portfolio of deflationary fixed assets like Bitcoin and other cryptos, win. And that's all that's going to happen. And that is the reset. And while they do that, it's going to hyperinflate real assets, transfer all the wealth to the elites. Nobody's going to jail. The Epstein files aren't being released. And Hillary Clinton isn't going to prison. And Donald Trump's not going to prosecute any of these people. He might say so, but that's not going to happen. And I just told you what's going to happen. Again, Scott Bessent, who collapsed the British pound with George Soros and did that successfully, has been put in charge by Trump to collapse the US dollar into a new one. So, you know, it might not be sold as, oh, the US dollar is collapsed. It'll just be like, no, we have a new dollar, it's upgraded, and it's backed by stable coins now. And by the way, good news, the US government strategic sovereign reserve has all this Bitcoin and XRP and Ethereum and Solana and all these other coins. You're welcome. This is the new system. And that's all it is. Again, all you have to do is look through history to see how they broke laws, created a new one, and then they invent anything that they want. So it's also important to understand that the economy that we currently have isn't built on new wealth creation. It's built on debt and hyperinflation. Keep in mind, we have 50-year mortgages coming very soon, announced by Trump, 12-year car loans. And so it's not necessarily that people are getting wealthier, but they're spending money they don't have, using massive amounts of debt through the hyperinflationary effect of the intentional by design lockdowns, which is why they did them in 2020, to create the reset and move the American people and worldwide populations towards the end goal, which is what I'm going to get to next. The stablecoin legislation I predicted, Bitcoin I've been predicting and investing in now for nearly almost 2 decades, since under 1,000, teaching at my school, now Island Project, with our no bank debt real estate portfolio of real world assets soon to be tokenized. But also the upgradability of the dollar into a US stablecoin digital currency that will hold a basket of sovereign cryptos like Bitcoin. This is always one of my favorite spots here in Oahu. You can really see Diamond Head behind me. So as I was saying, the US dollar will be tethered like it once was to gold, then taken off the gold standard. Then, of course, we moved into the petrodollar, implicitly backed by oil, but have now been really removed from that. What the US dollar will be tethered to is not Bitcoin directly, and this is a distinction. The US government has decided to tether the US dollar, the digital dollar, to US dollar stablecoins. And so that's going to be the key difference as we move forward, is that although the US government will acquire, confiscate, possibly in Venezuela, $60 billion worth of Bitcoin if they can get the private keys from Nicolas Maduro and his alleged regime. Although they'll hold those assets, and those assets are set to soar, it's the US stablecoin, US dollar stablecoin, that's going to be tethered to this new currency. So again, the question is, what do you do? Well, it's what I've been saying for the last 2 decades, and I've made people very rich. You exit the dollar. You prepare and profit from the hyperinflation. You get out of US dollars and into real world assets that are not denominated in it. And you pivot, leverage, and profit from the new technology that very few people actually really understand before it goes mainstream. So again, this is a short video, but it's clear that there's no slowdown. There is more debt, record debt, more hyperinflation and spending than there's ever been. It's not real wealth creation. You're only building real wealth if you're in assets like island project and real estate that is actually keeping up and exceeding the hyperinflation that's intentionally being created by the central bank and the Federal Reserve. And I also want to hear from you, what does it look like in your neck of the woods? Because in Hawaii, where the best real estate in the world is located, we're at all-time highs. We are literally packed. People are spending more money, even if it's debt, than they ever have before. The rich are getting richer, and real estate prices are becoming more and more out of reach from the average person because they can't afford it. Again, with 50-year mortgages and 12-year car loans, prices will only go up. More equity will be built. And that is why it is so important to get your piece of the rock here at the Digital Noah's Ark. God bless. Links below, and like and share.